Quack is a Windows C#.NET program to store and manipulate time series data. After you've installed Quack on your Windows computer, you click the Quack icon. The first time you use Quack, it will immediately connect to a demonstration Microsoft Azure database in the cloud. If you have an SQL Server database running locally or on your network, you change database by clicking this icon. I am now connected to a local database on my own computer. There are all sorts of data I could enter into Quack, but suppose I have a factory with buildings and I want to monitor energy use from a production building. For the last week, I've been reading the meter at 5 p.m. and writing them down in a notebook. These are the increasing readings as I took them each day. I've also noted down the differences between these numbers. This represents the daily consumption. First, I need to create the factory structure in Quack. I drag a container from the left margin onto the canvas and rename it factory. I'll drag another container into factory, rename this production. I then take a point below the container, move that into production and rename that electricity. Points are what contain the data. I check the electricity point and click Data Workbook. This is where I will be entering my readings. I configure the electricity point so that each time I enter a new line, data will be incremented by 1 day. If I just click here, today's date will be entered. This is not what I want the 1st of May. I can now start entering my readings. Each time I enter a new line, you'll see that the date gets incremented by 1 day. I save those readings by clicking that icon there. I can now have a quick look at the data in graph form by clicking that icon. And there it is. I now want to create a calculated point that shows the daily difference between each reading I've entered, which will represent the daily consumption. I drag a calculated point from the left margin into production and rename this daily. To configure the point, I click the calculator icon. I now configure the point by dragging points into the calculation. What I'm saying is, for each daily time period, take the electricity reading and subtract the reading that is lagging in the time period before. I'll save that. There are an enormous range of possible calculations you can do. I'll show some more in a moment. I'll go back to the data workbook. These are my original readings. This is the calculated point. To put the calculated values into this point, I just press that. And you'll now see that those values match the values over there, which I manually calculated. I'll now look at the data in graph form by clicking away the electricity point. So I'm just seeing the daily calculation and looking at the graph, and that is the daily consumption. Calculations can be changed. Here are some that I prepared earlier. So each calculation is based on an earlier calculation, and I finally end up with a total daily gas and electricity energy cost. So that is the essence of Quack. There are many possible uses you could put it to save money or give insight to your operation. There's a lot more that Quack can do. You can arrange for Quack to show an alarm if the data exceeds a threshold. You can arrange for data to be loaded automatically and calculations and alarms found automatically, so you don't need to manually enter the numbers. You can attach additional information to any of the points or containers in the structure.